The real you has dynamic power you seldom use. There are two parts of the mind. When you think of yourself, you think of your conscious mind, the only mind of which you are fully aware. It is your me. It seems to make all your decisions and direct all your activity, but the largest and most important part of your mind is the part you are generally unaware of, the subconscious mind. And although your conscious mind may seem to call all the shots, it is ruled by the desires of the subconscious, which is the real you. And until you learn to understand it, you do not know or understand yourself. Many young people travel all over the world trying to find themselves. That elusive self can't be found by traveling or even by looking under the door or behind the bed or in the closet. The true self can only be found by looking inward rather than outward. And although we have free will to do anything we want to do, we base our decisions on the strength of our desires. And subconscious desires always outweigh conscious ones. A man may desire to remain in his warm bed on a cold winter morning instead of getting up and going to work, but if his subconscious mind has established a desire of wanting to get up to avoid losing his job, he will act seemingly against his will. He will get up in spite of the unpleasant weather. An alcoholic may consciously desire to quit drinking. He regrets seeing his wife's love turn into disgust and his career go down the drain, yet he will continue to drink in spite of his conscious desire to quit. An obese person may consciously agree that he would be happier if he could control his eating and reduce his weight, yet he finds it impossible to do so. These people have accepted things consciously which they have been unable to accept in their inner or subconscious minds. And although our conscious mind has the ability to reason and to decide upon the most advantageous course of action, it cannot implement its decision unless the subconscious mind agrees and directs its energy toward that end. Our source of energy is the subconscious mind. No amount of willpower exerted by the conscious mind can override it. It may allow the alcoholic to stay sober for 1 or 2 nights, or the obese person to diet for a while. But like an indulgent parent allowing a child a bit of leeway, the subconscious will not change. The habits will be dominant. Willpower can only dent the surface. Our subconscious acts the way it has been programmed to act, exactly as a computer does, and much of this programming occurs before we are old enough to discriminate between ideas helpful or detrimental to our welfare. For instance, if a young child is told by an irritated mother, "You never do anything right," or "What's the matter with you? Can't you do anything?" This child may be a failure as an adult, since his conscious mind is not developed fully enough to censor this negative idea. His subconscious accepts it and establishes the belief that he can't do things right. The subconscious has no critical factor. It affects and accepts as absolute truth any idea allowed to enter its computer-like system. The idea then becomes an integral part of the child's beliefs and consequent behavior. An adult would consciously reject the idea that he never does anything right and would not allow it to enter into his subconscious mind. The subconscious accepts only what the conscious mind believes at the time the suggestion is offered. But if the conscious mind changes an opinion after it has become entrenched in the subconscious will not change with it. The two parts of the mind will differ, and the subconscious opinion will be the dominant one. It will continue to dictate your desires and subsequent behavior in spite of your conscious opinion. The function of the conscious mind is to evaluate and compare each new idea with previously accepted ideas, and in this manner determine its veracity before allowing it to enter into the subconscious memory bank. Remember, once the new idea is there, it becomes absolute truth to the individual, who will use it to judge the acceptability of future ideas. Since many of the ideas accepted in early life are false, and many of the ideas accepted later are based on the premise that the false ones are true, consider what a garbled assortment of half-truths, false fears, and unreasonable hates and prejudices we accumulate during and even after our formative years. Before the age of 10, or even 6 nowadays, our uncritical minds are programmed by misinterpretations of chance events and the opinions and superstitions of those around us, who in turn were poorly programmed in their own formative years. It is obvious we must change our subconscious minds if we are to achieve self-mastery. When this is accomplished, we can consciously direct our activity toward any goals we desire, including health, happiness, and financial success. If you change your mind, you can live happily ever after. Change your mind, change your life.